So, you've just unboxed your shiny new StudioLive 16.0.2. It's awesome, right? But let's be real, looking at all these knobs, faders, and buttons can feel a little intimidating. But don't you worry, we're going to break this whole thing down, and in just a few minutes, you're going to go from feeling overwhelmed to feeling totally in control.
Okay, let's just take a second and look at this thing. I mean, it's a sea of controls. Your eyes are probably darting all over the place, trying to figure out what does what. It's a totally normal reaction. The big question on everyone's mind is always, where on earth do I even begin? The answer? You start right here. This section is called the fat channel, and trust me, it is the absolute heart of this mixer. Once you get your head around this one spot, you'll understand how to control literally any sound that comes into or goes out of this board. It's the key to everything. I like to think of the fat channel as your Swiss Army knife for audio. It's this one central set of physical knobs and buttons that can be assigned to control any channel you want. That's the whole philosophy of this mixer, and it's brilliant. So, what does that actually mean? Well, it's simple. You pick a channel, any channel, and suddenly all of these physical controls are dedicated to that one channel. It's an amazing design that keeps the mixer compact while giving you a ton of power.
And the actual workflow is ridiculously easy. It's just 3 steps. First, you press the select button on the channel you want to tweak. Let's say it's your lead vocal. Step 2, you just glance up at this little display to make sure, yep, you've got the right channel selected. And third, that's it. Now every knob in the fat channel is shaping that vocal. Simple.
And here's exactly what that looks like. See, you hit the select button on your channel strip, and bam, that channel's number instantly lights up in the display. It's immediate, clear feedback, so you're never left guessing what you're actually adjusting.
Okay, now for the really fun part. Once you've selected a channel, you get to play God a little bit. This is where you actually start sculpting the sound, you know? You take that raw, kind of boring signal from a mic, and you turn it into something that sounds absolutely fantastic.
And you've got quite the toolkit to do it with. You get a high-pass filter to cut out all that low-end mud, a gate to get rid of unwanted noise, a compressor to even things out, a limiter for safety, and a full-blown 4-band EQ to really get in there and dial in the tone. And the best part? All of this is available for every single channel. The equalizer, or EQ, is all about tone. Think of it like the bass and treble knobs on a stereo, but way, way more powerful. Is your kick drum a little too boomy? Does that acoustic guitar need just a little more sparkle and air on top? This is where you make those changes.
Now let's talk dynamics. This part right here is your secret weapon. Ever have a singer who goes from a whisper to a scream? Or a vocalist who keeps getting buried in the mix when the full band kicks in? A little bit of compression right here will solve that problem instantly. It helps everything sit just right.
You know, a good mix is balanced, but a great mix has depth and dimension. And that's where effects come into play. This is the polish, the final touch. We're talking about adding reverb and delay to create a sense of space and make everything sound, well, professional.
And adding an effect like reverb is super easy. Just 4 quick steps. First, you press the FXA button to tell the mixer you want to work with effects. Second, you use these encoders to send some of each channel to the effect. Third, make sure that effect is routed to your main mix. And finally, you just turn up the master effect knob until it sounds perfect.
Now this is a key concept to understand. Those encoders in the fat channel, they're like little chameleons. In their normal mode, they're controlling your EQ and dynamics. But the second you press one of those FX send buttons, they get a brand new job. Now they're controlling how much of that channel gets sent to the effects. It's a dual-purpose design.
And right here, you can see exactly what I mean. See these FXA and FXB buttons? Pressing one of them completely changes what these channel encoders do. You'll even see the little LED meters above them change to show you the effects send level instead of the EQ setting. It's really clever.
Okay, let's talk about a real pro tip for making your life easier. Imagine you've got, say, 8 mics on a drum kit. Trying to adjust all 8 of those faders at once during a live show? It's a nightmare. But there's a really clever trick you can use with the aux buses to create groups.
The easiest way to wrap your head around this is to think of an aux bus as a master remote control for a whole group of channels. You send all your drum mics to one aux bus, and from then on, that single aux fader becomes the master volume for your entire drum kit. So here's how you do it. First, you press the aux1 button, just like we did for the effects earlier. Second, you go through and use the encoders to send all your drum channels over to that aux1 bus. And that's it. You're done. Now, that fader labeled aux1 is your drum group master.
And this shot illustrates it perfectly. You press the aux encoder button up in the fat channel to do the sending, and then you use this one single aux fader down here to control the whole shebang. It's an incredibly powerful way to simplify a really complex mix.
All right, finally, let's talk about maybe the two most important buttons in live sound, mute and solo. These are absolutely essential. They're what you use to quickly silence a channel you don't need or to isolate one to figure out where that weird noise is coming from.
So on the Studio Live, the little buttons right below each fader are called multi-mode buttons. And the name says it all, right? They can do more than one thing. They can either be your mute buttons or they can be your solo buttons, and it all depends on which master mode you've chosen.
So how do you choose? Well, you just look to the left of the faders. You'll see these two big buttons for mute and solo. Whichever one of those is lit up determines what all the buttons on the channel strips do. It's that simple. Press mute, they all become mutes. Press solo, they all become solos. And here is a fantastic little tip straight out of the manual that really shows off the board's great design. When you hit solo on a channel, its button lights up bright yellow. But check this out. Every other channel button automatically lights up red. That's the board telling you, hey, I've soloed this one, so I've temporarily muted all of these. It's brilliant visual feedback.
So there you have it. We've walked through the command center, that powerful fat channel, and we've seen how to EQ, how to add effects, how to create groups, and how to manage the whole mix with solo and mute. This board is no longer some big, complex mystery. It's your creative tool. So the only real question is, what sound are you going to shape first?